Hello! Welcome to the Loud Poets YouTube channel. We're here today with Sam Small. Sam is great. Sam helps to run In Deep and the High Flight in Glasgow, and we're super happy to have him here today.
I'm very happy to be here.
Well, thank you, sir. So what we wanted to talk about today is this idea that there's regional differences in Scotland with the different kinds of spoken word that are performed. So I think sometimes people get these stereotypes associated with different cities, and this idea that, if you're from Glasgow, you're going to do your poem like that, or if you're from Edinburgh, it'll be like that. I wanted to pick your brain on that as someone who lives in Glasgow and tends to perform there.
Performs in Edinburgh as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's weird that we've definitely got like a kind of wee Scottish scene, like the Glasgow and Edinburgh kind of divide, like group or whatever. Whereas like there's lots of similarities between us, and a lot of people do other people's nights, and you'll see like little things getting picked up by other people. But I definitely do think there is a little bit more of a divide. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's got something to do with the Fringe, with how you guys have the Fringe. So like you've always had like lots of like kind of like art, or like more like art, whereas like a lot of the stuff in Glasgow will just be people in like in a pub or whatever, like doing like a turn or that, and you don't have like. This year I've noticed a lot of people doing like Fringe shows, and like even like Liam McCormick and stuff's only been in it for like 6 months or something, and he's already like doing like an hour-long show.
Was
like
it Govan Hill that he did at the Fringe last year?
Yeah, totally. So it was like seeing all that kind of stuff, and whereas I don't know, when I first started doing it, it would be the like comedians in Glasgow that would come through at the Fringe all the time and stuff like that, and it was never really like I never really thought I'll go and do a show until it was like, I don't know, I'd been doing it for like, I don't know, like 2 years or something.
Wow,
but that's like more, because of just the way kind of Glasgow was as well. It was like, there was only like maybe like 2 or 3 nights. That was like last Monday at the Rio, In Deep, like my night like came like a little bit later than that, just before the kind of we like boom or whatever we had. And there was like just open mics. So you wouldn't even have like a poetry open mic. You'd go down and it would be like guitar, music, comedy,
and poetry,
everything. Like that's how I started. I saw Kevin Gilday when I was like going down playing guitar at this open mic in the Flying Duck. Kevin Gilday was there, and I was like, I could fucking do that.
It's never like, I admire that. It's I can do that. That's easy. It's easy.
Do that. All Kevin did was like he did loads of poems about like wanking in the bath or wanking in different situations.
That's
like,
Gilday for you.
Yeah, lots of like,
all varieties of wank.
And I was like, I do like. He was the first person I ever actually saw like do like poetry, like the kind of like modern spoken word kind of poetry. I'd seen
it's
it
a
like
great introduction to it.
I'd seen it on like telly and stuff like that, and like Scroobius Pip and John Cooper Clarke and all that kind of stuff, and the more like American like hip hop side of it as well. But like it was like I remember seeing Kevin Gilday doing it. I think probably the first Scottish person I saw doing it was Kevin Gilday, and it was like and I was like got into that. But then that's like so you're influenced by the other people that are like kind of like in your wee scene, in your wee group, and you're also influenced by like outside things like the formats that people are doing shows, people are writing things. Some people write more for slams or whatever it is, or writing to time limits and all that kind of stuff. So it's like I think there's definitely differences to different regions, but I don't know why.
It was
it's
interesting.
Like probably a lot of different things. I'm not too sure what it would be. Like I couldn't really like put a point on it, put a finger on it.
It is interesting because I think so many people go back and forth so much between the scenes. Like I live in Glasgow, but I'm always kind of back and forth and doing Loud Poet shows here and kind of all over the place. So I think there's such an exchange of ideas and an exchange of styles. It's definitely not an insular community, which is something that I really, really like.
And there's lots of connections now with like London and like Manchester.
Yeah, absolutely. The UK scene's a lot more connected.
Yeah, Zach Rod is from Manchester. I think just moved up to Glasgow as well.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I don't know if he has or he's about to or there's something. But I think we're gonna get Zach soon. So that's good.
Good.
Totally. Yeah. But it's like there's lots of like different people, different places that all seem to bump into one another. Things like the Fringe, especially.
Absolutely.
Like, a lot of people will come through and then you're making these like ties and stuff like that, which is cool. And there's loads of nights in London and stuff like that, like all the kind of apples and snakes stuff and all and whatnot. Banks Said the Gun and everything. They all come through for the Fringe, and then it's like back and forth and things like that. So I definitely think there's different styles to different places, but
I think as well another thing is that the internet has changed the way that I think it's so hard to talk about regional styles in this very globalized world. We were talking about Kevin Gilday, and he has that poem I've fallen out of love with poetry, and I remember one of the lines, it's you. But one of the lines in that is it's I've fallen out of love with poetry because you all learned to slam from Americans on YouTube instead of making up your own styles. And I think, I think that's a pretty pessimistic way to look at it, but I think it's also so true in so many instances. And you do see people who have never been to a live show. Like I get this all the time, especially when I'm flyering and I'm like, oh, have you heard of slam poetry? Have you heard of spoken word? And they're like, well, I've never seen it, but like YouTube, I know it from that. Totally. So I think maybe there are a lot of folks who don't go to live shows and don't experience maybe the people in their region in that style, but they'll know Shane Koizen or Andrea Gibson or something
totally.
like that.
A lot of times I get with people coming into my night or whatever, they were like, I never would have thought to come to like a poetry night or whatever, but now that I'm here, it's actually all right. It's actually quite fun and stuff like that. So it's like
we're always up against that. Totally. I never would have come to this. This sounds rubbish, but like now that I'm here.
No, I think to be fair, I was like that as well before I started doing it. I was like, well, I like poetry, but I don't think I'd tell anyone. Like,
but keep that tucked away. Keep that real private.
Even when I first started in Duke, it was like, you'd be like, oh yeah, we're doing a poetry night, like on the Tuesday night or whatever, like blah blah blah, and people would be like, just look at you like, what? Like what's
why? Why would you do that?
Is that like a comedy night or like what? It's like just that they didn't really get it or whatever. Like and that's what they do. Like Bang said, the gun they call it stand up poetry.
There's so many different terms to make it seem
to just try
more
like
cool.
It's stand up poetry. Come on, like it's okay. You're allowed to enjoy it. You like stand up, don't you? Well, this is like that. Oh,
it's like how the word spoken word is like, it's not poetry, it's spoken word. Totally, so it's okay. It can be cool.
So people get thinking about that as well. I always end up just saying poetry, but if people say like I don't know when they're talking about it, or they'll say spoken word to you, but with like a knowing look, like being like, oh no, he does like spoken word. Like my mum did that for a while. She would be explaining it to things, and she'd be like, and I'd be like, like what was it? Does mum would be like, oh no, you call it, the kids call it spoken word now. Like, whatever. It's like, but there's lots of different names for it. It's silly, really. It's all just poetry.
It's all just poetry. We need to get over that.
Totally. Still like living in denial. Like but no, totally.
Yeah. So just like going back to this idea of if we can say that there are differences, how would you characterize the different styles?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like there is that thing that's like there's the Glasgow does have like a lot more kind of like the hip hop nights, and they've got that whole like Scottish hip hop scene where it's like you've got like Loki and Bram and freaking all that kind of stuff.
Mark
but you've got like Mark McGee and everything, but it's like, and a lot of those guys that are in the Glasgow hip hop thing have kind of came over to the poetry side a bit as well.
There's so much crossover, which I love.
Totally. It's cool. Like, and you can go to nights and go to hip hop nights and see people reading not people reading poetry, but you see the same faces kind of thing in both places. But then again, you've got like the hip hop's got a wee Edinburgh's got a wee hip hop scene as well with like fucking I'm not gonna remember any names, but like there's definitely there, and so it's like it's weird how like different things have influenced different cities or whatever, and it's like what the crossover is, and like I think you've got a much stronger like uni scene with like all your like the Edinburgh uni and everything as well.
Absolutely,
like what do you call it? The Glasgow uni stuff are kind of, they're doing that now with like Ross McFarlane's and the QMU and LA and everything like that, which is cool. But it's like, I don't know, I think it's more like structured in Edinburgh. Like they've got it down a bit.
Yeah, better, with the monthly nights, there's soapbox,
totally.
the sock slams.
Exactly. And it's all like you get that big like kind of like student community as well, which I guess we've not got I guess we've got halls in Glasgow as well. But it's like I get whenever I come through to do the Edinburgh nights, especially the soapbox one, you get this like really strong like community vibe. Like you, like I don't go every month or whatever, obviously, but like whenever I am through and I see it, it's like you always see the same faces, like you always see the same people. It's like very like, and just when it's like off term or whatever, it's like you don't even bother running them because it's like it's
because it is so student based. I think as
totally.
Well, it's interesting for me because Soapbox was the first place I ever performed my poetry ever, and I think it's a very kind of international community there as well. You get so many international students.
You get a lot more like kind of international stuff in Edinburgh than you do in Glasgow. I would say it's a lot more Glasgow's straight white males.
Unfortunately, I think it can be that way sometimes. I think Edinburgh tends to be more diverse, but diverse through the uni and through different students coming here. And I think maybe because of that, I think because I would tend to agree with you. I think that Glasgow tends to be a little bit more hip hop oriented, but I think Edinburgh maybe you get more of that American slam style. I think a little bit more. Totally. It's always hard for me to say because I've never done poetry in America. I've only ever done it here. Like the worst American representative.
Don't tell anyone that. Like, I didn't know that. I thought you were like an old hand. Like,
oh no, I've won the national slam many times.
Totally,
yes, I'm a veteran. No, I've ever only done it in Scotland. So I just feel like such a fraud. But but it's even.
I wouldn't. Don't put that in. Like, totally. You should build up some sort of like. What's it called? Like,
some
false,
sense of mystery.
Definitely. Like, a bit of like folklore. Yeah, totally.
Oh Christ! But yeah. But no, I think it's always interesting to think about. Yeah, those differences, but also how much crossover kind of erases.
I think there's more similarities than there are differences.
I would agree.
Probably, definitely.
I would agree.
Yeah, it's like it's a good wee thing to be a part of. It's a good wee like scene with everyone. So yeah,
absolutely.
totally.
Yeah, Ace. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and check out In Deep and the High Flight. We'll put links right here.
We're
Harry
making a website
magic.
for the High Flight at the moment. We've been in the process of making for about the last year. We're incredibly
Good things
badly
take time,
organised.
you know.
Totally. But like pretty soon, like I'm gonna be able to tell you like an address. Like,
Awesome.
Hopefully, we'll see. It'll
happen.
And In Deep Poetry, that's on Facebook, and you should check that out with 2 N's in with 2 N's.
Ace, thanks.
Beautiful. Let's go.